back, everyone. On today's episode, we are talking about TwitchCon with Callie. Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hope you're having a great day today.
Of course, every day is a great day.
So I'm going to start off with the question that I ask everybody on the podcast, and that is, how long have you been streaming, and what do you usually stream?
So I've been on and off streaming for about 3 years. Riot games, so League of Legends, Valorant, and if I don't stream those games, I usually stream whatever games come out, like Pokemon or Final Fantasy. Usually the bigger releases. I usually just stay with League and Valorant. They're always changing, so it's always a consistent flow. But I always try to diversify what I stream in case I don't want to play those games anymore.
Today we are talking about TwitchCon, and I believe you went to TwitchCon last year in Vegas.
Yeah, I went last year and the one in San Diego.
2022?
Yeah.
Same. What was the reasoning behind going in Vegas last year, even though it was a different city?
So I usually just use TwitchCon as a place to see all my online friends because most of my online friends I never end up meeting and then we lose connection. So for my new group of friends that I've made, I'm like, okay, I have to at least like hang out with these people. And ever since San Diego, we've gone every year. And for Vegas, it was just like a nice change. San Diego, like I think twice in a row, 3 times in a row. So it was pretty cool to just go somewhere else. Although I'm not a big fan of like Vegas's climate, it's really dry.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like this one was smaller than San Diego?
I think it felt a little bit smaller to me, maybe just how it was laid out. I didn't do any of the meet and greets in San Diego, and I wonder if that was because I was worried about the waiting in line part and thinking it was going to take hours.
Yeah, I feel like it was smaller because Artist Alley and then the expo hall were all on the same floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then upstairs was like the panels. But in San Diego, they had the expo hall on the bottom floor, and then on the second floor was Artist Alley and the panels.
Yeah,
Because
just
when I
the floors being different kind of threw me off, but I figured it out
yeah,
by the second day. I went, the whole weekend, so by the second day I was
oh
like,
same.
okay, I think I've got a feel for like the layout now.
It was really hot. I'm from Florida, so I'm used to like the humidity. So when I got out of the airport, I walked out and I'm like, oh, it's really dry.
I had been to Vegas one time before when I was 15 years old, so it had been years, but the thing I remembered is just the dry heat. And I was like, I better bring sunscreen, better bring a hat, because I'm going to feel so warm all the time.
I thought I was gonna get cold at night. That's what my boss used to live in Vegas. So before I left, I was like, "Oh, hey, how's Vegas this time of year?" And she's like, "Oh, it's gonna be cold," because she went to go see. It was when we were young. She went to go to that concert.
Yeah.
So I just trusted her. I was like, "Okay, well, she says she's lived there for like 10 years. I'll take a jacket." It was hot at night too.
It was warm.
I was like, "Okay, where's the truth?"
Did you go to the TwitchCon party that was at Area
Oh, it
15?
was so cool. Actually, that
That
was like
was
the
so
biggest
cool.
upgrade.
I was really excited because, on the one hand, I was a little bit sad that it wasn't a concert like the year before because I just love concerts. But the TwitchCon party at Area 15, it felt like you have so many options. The Omega Mart, you have rides like this kind of zip line seat. Like, there's so many things you can choose from. It's like choose your own adventure kind of thing. They had the DJ, they had snacks.
Did you go on the zip line?
Yeah, I went on it. I think it was probably like 2 or 3 hours into the party, and I think we were on a list, and they finally texted us, like, hey, you can come over.
I'm surprised it was 2 or 3 hours. Maybe I went super early because I went with a group of friends, and we were like, "Oh, do you want to do the zip line?" And they were like, "Yeah, just get in line on the app." And we
Mm-hmm.
got on in like 20 minutes. It was pretty cool though. I think it was just a change of scenery from San Diego because San Diego was just the Petco Stadium, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you do anything else in Las Vegas besides TwitchCon?
The day before, so I guess Thursday, there was registration. So we went to pick up our badges, and then we walked around. I think across the street, it was Resorts World. And then we walked over to the Wynn and the Venetian. We didn't see the Bellagio fountains, and they didn't have the volcano going, and some of the stuff was kind of blocked off, which I knew ahead of time because the Formula One stuff. But it was cool to see the Sphere.
Did you
And
go in it?
no, we didn't go. I mean,
Oh, what?
we went to go see the Beatles Love Show. by Cirque du Soleil. So we felt like we kind of splurged on those. That was about $90 to go see that show. So that was kind of like our big tourist attraction that we did.
It was like a last minute thing. One of our friends was like, "Oh, can we go to the Sphere?" And we were all like, "I don't know. Does anyone else want to go to the Sphere?" And then she just did the whole, "Come on, please." And we're like, "All right, well, I guess we'll go to the Sphere."
Please.
Yeah, so we went in. It's pretty cool on the inside. I think the only thing that was
Mhm.
like scary was when you go inside like the projector room. It's slanted. It feels like you're falling forward. It's a
Oh.
really far drop. I was on like the 100th row, so like I'm like
Mm.
trying to watch the movie that they were playing up there, but I was like trying not to fall into the chasm below. My other friend was like, "Oh, are you good?" I'm like, "No, I'm terrified." At one point, I was like, "I really need to go to the bathroom," but then
Mhm.
like I stood up real quick, and like my body felt like it was being pulled forward. I'm like, you know what? I'll wait. I'll
Like,
just
I'm good.
I can hold it.
It looked really cool. And I think one of the nights of TwitchCon, they had the Xbox logo on the sphere. I totally missed it, but I saw pictures of it.
Did you see the smiley face?
Yeah, I saw the little smiley face. A lot of the time, it just kind of had this background on it that kind of just looked like lava. Like it was just like
Yeah.
orangey, glowing. So it was kind of like lava, little emoji face guy. There were a couple other ones, but nothing too
The
crazy.
emoji face was made by my friend who works at like a
Wow.
studio in New York. Who did you go to see at TwitchCon? Were you excited to see anybody there or
As far as like the big creators, when my friends and I were walking around, there was a booth. I think it was Elgato. They had a meet and greet on their schedule for Jordan Fisher, who's like this actor and singer, and he also plays a lot of Valorant and is a streamer. And so we're like, all right, let's go over there. And he was kind of just sitting there playing games for a little bit. And then when he got up, we took a picture and he signed our badges and was just really cool and chill. We are like, thank you. The last day, Sunday, they had like the Twitch Rivals challenge. And we walked in and they were playing Party Animals. And it was so funny. Like, it was the most competitive game I've ever seen.
I really didn't go to any of the panels or rivals. They stopped playing
Okay.
like League or Apex. I think they had Apex last
Yeah,
year
I
actually.
think
I don't
last year
really
they had Apex Legends. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. I'm more into the Riot scene, so like I like watching like the streamers up there play and
Mm-hmm.
play the game that I'm familiar with. My friend wanted to go watch the Rocket League one, and I
Mm-hmm.
forgot, and I went to go get coffee. And as I like walked out of the coffee shop, I was like, "Oh, I was supposed to be with somebody." I had to like walk back, and I was like, I'll do it next year." So I just stopped like running, and I'm like, I'm sure he'll be fine. My friends, we didn't eat at the convention because the food there is like not great, and it's also really
Mm-hmm.
expensive. They
Yeah.
had like Dunkin' Donuts, and I think
Yeah.
all the food was outside too. I'm not gonna wait in the hot
Yeah.
sun outside.
I got pizza
So
and then a veggie wrap.
how much was that? It had to have been more
Oh,
than like a regular
it was
pizza.
like a tiny pizza for $12. I was like,
Oh my god,
oh my
no.
gosh. It was painful. Outside food, not the best idea in the sun. But the expo hall, what did you think of all the booths last year?
I think I liked them a lot more than the San Diego one. The gaming ones were pretty cool. I don't know if you tried the racing one with that like giant setup with like the gear shifter and the steering wheel.
I think I saw it. I think I walked by it.
Sitting down in there, it's almost realistic as a F1 vehicle. The only difference is the steering compartment, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
They dialed it back because when you have the actual steering stick at home, the feedback is as strong as like an actual vehicle, so it could like actually injure
Oh.
you.
Whoa.
I was like, oh, it's like a video game, so I'm sure it'll be easy. I'm sure, and like I'm driving it, and I have to fight the steering wheel to make turns, and the guy like watching me, he's just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like sweating in this air conditioned expo hall, trying to like figure out how to use like a gear shifter. I'm like, I don't drive manual, I drive
Mm-hmm.
automatic. I don't know what
Right.
I'm doing. What do you think about the loot cave? I feel like it wasn't that great this year.
It was all right. There was some stuff that I was like, I already have that. I have a purple baseball hat that says Twitch on it. So some of it felt a little bit repetitive, but I got the t shirt and the pin that say Vegas on them. Something in my mind was like, I don't think they're coming back to Vegas next year, so I need to get the Vegas merch.
I thought it was funny that they had like some of the older merch there from last year, and just put it in like the bins. And I'm like, okay, so you guys had like a whole year to prep for this,
Right.
and nothing new. I think the only thing that was like new that I could remember was the cowboy hat. That was pretty cool, but I wasn't gonna wear that
Right.
because I'm from Florida.
I think they had playing cards and a cowboy hat because it was
Yeah.
Vegas. So that was very on theme. So I thought that was cute.
My lanyard's full of like the Pokemon pins. I usually just go to the artist alley whenever I want like merch. I don't
Mhm.
buy prints anymore because the first time I went, I bought a print and I'm like, oh, how do I take this home without like destroying it in my luggage? Folding it's so sad. After it being in your luggage for like how many hours it takes you to get back home, as soon as you unfold it, it's you already see that crease. I'd cry.
The crease is always going to be there.
I was more sad when I bought like a print from an artist, and then I'm like, and then I unfold it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna fold it back and just not think about
Mm,
it.
yeah, that hurts because you're like, this is a work of art. I had two carry-ons basically. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick to like buying keychains and stickers and small stuff. So I bought a lot of stickers, Pokemon, like cute stuff.
I bought my friend's air fresheners. There's this
Ooh,
one person selling like cat air fresheners. They have like 3 cats at home, so I was like, oh, I'll get
that's
them. I'll
perfect.
get the same color as the cats they own.
That works so well. I was just amazed at how good the artist alley was.
I really wanted earrings and like rings, but I went there like Sunday, which is like probably the worst time to go, but also kind of like a good time because people try to get rid of everything, so I don't gotta carry as much. So they'll usually discount their remaining goods.
Mhm.
So I went and I was like, "Oh, do you have this earring?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "What about this one?" They're like, "No."
Uh
And I'm like, "What about this ring?" He's like, "We can order it for you." I'm like, "You can just say no."
It's like, I get it. It's gonna be a no.
I thought it was funny, but I'm also like, "Damn, should I have been here day one?"
I feel like the past two times I've been, I feel like we've gone on Saturday. So I feel like it's kind of busy, but it's not the worst time to go because there's still some stuff available.
Do you follow any artists that were there, or
I follow one definitely from San Diego because she made a Genshin Impact keychain that I have of my favorite character. I don't think she was at Las Vegas though, but I have a lot of the business cards still, and I know I followed a couple of them.
I was there for ITIT's art. She does a lot of Fox stuff. So in League, my main character is Ari, like a Fox girl,
Mm-hmm.
Ninetail Fox. And then my friend's like, "Oh, you should play Genshin. They have one of those too." I'm like, "Nah, you almost got me there. I'm not playing Genshin. That's a lot of effort." I don't. I mean, if I played now, it'd be like forever until I caught up.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, she does like a lot of Fox stuff. And she
Mm-hmm.
was there, and I was just like, "Oh, sweet, do you have this?" She's like, "We just sold out." I'm like, "It's Friday,"
That's so fast.
and I'm like, "How do you guys come up with new stickers ideas?" Because I
Right.
feel like after a while, I'd be like, "Okay, I've done a happy frog, a sad frog, a crying frog. What else can I do?" I was gonna get something, but I was like, I'll come back later. And then later was me on the plane, like, "Oh, I should have went back." It's really bad for me. I feel that whenever like I go to a convention and I'm like, "Oh, I really
Mhm.
like this shirt," I'll come back for it, and then I'm like, "What if it's gone by the time I get back?"
Right? You're like, what if it sells out in my size?
I think what was kind of weird to me is that before they announced TwitchCon in Las Vegas, they banned gambling streaming.
Yes. Yes, the timing of that.
I think in January they're like, "Hey, it's in Las Vegas, the gambling capital of the United States."
Yep.
That's right. That then we banned on our website. That's where we're gonna be hosting TwitchCon, and I felt like that was kind of like a backhand to like all like the gambling streamers that were like no longer had like a platform there.
I was excited on one hand because I was like, I haven't been to Vegas in a while, now I'm an adult. I hadn't been, as an adult before.
We had our own rooms. I shared a room with my friend. We
Mhm.
would go out to eat every night. We planned like a big buffet with our friends. We went to like this really cool Japanese restaurant. I think my favorite was the street tacos. It was tacos gorditos. It was like really cool.
Ooh.
What I didn't like was how terrible it is to walk around there.
Mhm.
It's almost like Miami kind of bad where there's like no sidewalks. You have to walk like an hour for something that's like 10 minutes away by car. because there's no way to get there. It's not very walking friendly.
Right. Yeah, that's a big complaint that I saw with a lot of people who stayed at hotels around there. Like, just to get over to where they were staying, they had to go up and over, and it was not very walkable.
We stayed one pretty close. It's like a 6 minute walk. I was hoping they would change like cities like every year just so it could be somewhere new.
I get why they have it on the West Coast. I think the biggest thing is that they're based in California, and the people who are working it are the people who work for Twitch.
Yeah.
To get everybody out to the East Coast, like, I know a lot of people, myself included, would love it if it was on the East Coast, but to get all the employees out there would be an expense for them.
Yeah, because I was hoping it would go from like the West Coast like to the East Coast, like New York, Boston.
Ooh. Yeah, Boston I've been to. That would be nice. It feels very easy to get around and walkable and stuff. And so does San Diego. So I like having it in San Diego because I felt like it was easy for us to get places, and we stayed in a hotel that was like downtown.
TwitchCon is on my birthday actually, so
Whoa!
yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
yeah. So my friend's birthday is the 19th, which is like the badge pickup date, and then the 20th
Mhm.
is day one. So on
Whoa!
day one
Birthday
of Twitch is my
party!
birthday. The day of them sending out like, oh, this is the dates for TwitchCon San Diego. I looked at like one hotel that was like a 12-minute walk
Mhm.
from the convention center. It was like $80 a night, and I'm like, oh sweet, I get paid this week on Wednesday. I checked on Monday. For sure, I'll get my own room. It's gonna be
Mhm.
I'm planning ahead of time. I'm gonna get everything in a row, so I just go and enjoy there. Tuesday rolls around. My friend's like, hey, you trying to share rooms again? And I was like, nah, bro. If you buy like a hotel now, they're like $80. He's like, where are you finding $80 like hotels? And
Exactly.
like, dude, hotels are like $200 now. I'm like, what do you mean? It's been 24 hours. I looked at like the hotel I was gonna try to stay at. The room I was trying to book went from $80 to like $250 a night. I'm like, whoa, what happened?
Whoa.
Everything around there just shot up in price, and I'm like, 7 months in advance, 8 months in advance.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see anything under like 300. I got time to save for it.
Yeah.
My final question is there anything that surprised you about TwitchCon last year?
I think the only like negative was the climate. San Diego was dry, but it wasn't desert dry. Like
Mhm.
I was just not about it. And San Diego was close to the beach, so it was kind of okay. I don't think I enjoyed too much of like the Las Vegas Strip. By like the end of the vacation, they started boarding up everything because they didn't want people watching the F1. It was a busy weekend for Las Vegas for sure.
Well, it's been so fun talking to you. Do you have any self promo?
My socials are for Twitch, it's El KingKaliente, and then for YouTube, it's just KingKaliente, TikTok as well. I'm trying to stream more often. I gotta find time for it. But I usually just stream whatever game I'm feeling. It's usually like ranked competitive league. I try to keep it lighthearted, and I do speak both English and Spanish.
Hope you have a great rest of your night.
Have a good night.